All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Awashai. This video is called The 5 Miracles of the Most High. So basically in this video, we're finna get it into like 5 miracles that the Most High, did for our forefathers, foremothers, or the whole nation. Because we have to remember these miracles, when all hell break loose, when Jacob's trouble kick off. These are the things that we have to remember. These are the things that have to be flowing through our mind during these times. We have to remember what the Most High done for our forefathers. But you can give me Sirach 2 and 10. We have to literally remember these accounts, man, because these accounts are literally made for our learning. So the Lord allow a lot of these things to happen, and brothers and sisters for brothers and sisters to come out of certain situations, for us to be able to read those things and
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No, I can. It went in and out. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 10. Look at the generation of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?
Right, so we finna get 5 accounts, man. We finna get 5 accounts. Just 5, man. It's plenty more in the Bible. But I chose 5 accounts just to show you how, our forefathers, when they depended on the Most High, and just show you how the Most High delivered them, man. These things are coming back. The Lord gonna use miracles to deliver brothers and sisters in Jacob's trouble. He gonna use similar things. I was watching Hunger Games Catching Fire yesterday. Well, Hunger Games Part 2. And I was watching that, and it was just like, it showed you, it was so spiritual, because it was times where the people were supposed to die, and the Lord protecting them through the Spirit. So it's like the Lord can do that to us, man. The Lord gonna do that to us. He did that before. He gonna do it again. He required the things of old. He required the things that he done in the past. So don't think that you don't just read these accounts and be like, man, that was mighty, man. I wish the Lord could do that for me. He can do that to you. And we're gonna see some things that we never seen before, some miracles that we never seen before in Jacob's trouble. That's gonna be the Lord showing his power like he always have done. Right? So the first account we're gonna get is going into Elijah and the raven. Because a lot of people don't know about what happened during the time of Elijah, man. 1 Kings chapter 17, on how he was fed with a raven. The Lord used a raven to feed a man food. That's how you know it's a living God. If you needed proof, it's a God. There's your answer. The Most High fed this man with a raven. We finna prove that. You got it. You got it.
Con. This is 1 Kings 17 and 1. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. So he went and did according unto the word of the Lord, for he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook.
So that's how we know the Lord is control of everything, man. The Lord is literally in control of everything. You don't think that the Lord not in control of these animals. The Lord is in control of everything. He run the show. So the Lord can feed you with a lion. He can feed you with a lizard. He can feed you with a like a raven. He can have an alligator come and feed you. You know what I'm saying? The Lord can do anything. So these are acts that you need to remember. So when you hungry or in Jacob's trouble and you ain't had nothing to eat, think about this. The Lord can feed me with a raven. He fed Elijah with a raven. so he can feed me with a raven. These are certain accounts that we have to think about, man. That's a miracle. That's a miracle, man. For you to be fed, just imagine Elijah seeing the ravens coming and giving him bread. Just imagine that they got it in their mouth coming to feed him. How would you feel if a raven came and fed you? How would you respond to that? You feel what I'm saying? Like that's a miracle, man. That's mighty. So that was the first one. And Lord willing, like I said, the Lord gonna do a lot of that in Jacob's trouble. A lot we're gonna see a lot of these miracles again on the earth. The second one, Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel 6. Daniel in the lion's den. A lot of people know about this story about Daniel in the lion's den, but that's a miracle, man. A miracle. Matter of fact, you start at when they finna put him in there. What that said?
I shall find it, Lord willing. That's the spirit. Verse 16 right here, when he got cast in.
Con, you can bring it out. The water for find that.
Yeah, that's the spirit, babe. All praises. All right. Do you want me to start at verse 14? What do you want me to do?
Start at 13, because basically what we're getting into. Matter of fact, start at 12.
Okay. All right. Verse 12. This is Daniel chapter 6 and verse 12. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, or save, within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute with the king established may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy God, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee.
That's mighty, man. So Daniel would just imagine you getting thrown into a den full of hungry lions that haven't ate nothing. A person that don't have the spirit on them, they'll pass out of a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? But Daniel had faith in the Most High God, and Daniel had that spirit on him. So he was thrown into the lions, man. He was thrown into the lions, because most people, especially back in that time, when they threw you into the den with the lions, they wanted you dead. They wanted you dead. They throw you in there for a reason. You wasn't supposed to wake up the next day. That was supposed to be a death sentence. You supposed to be food to the lions. So, no, Daniel was supposed to be lion bait. But a miracle happened. We're gonna keep reading. A miracle happened to our brother Daniel, from the Most High God. We're gonna keep reading on.
Come. Verse 17, and a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting, neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came into the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel, and the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God have sent his angel and have shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den.
So you can start right there. That's the point I wanted, man. So the Lord ended up closing the lion's mouth. So David slept probably peacefully in there with, I don't know how many lions it was. It was more than one. He slept in there with a whole bunch of lions, but the Lord sent the angels down to shut the lions' mouths, so they couldn't eat Daniel. Like I said earlier, these times are coming. These miracles are coming back on the earth. You might be in a FEMA camp. They might throw you in with some lions, or throw you in with some panthers, throw you in with a whole bunch of snakes. The Lord can have to send the angel down to shut their mouth, and they can't do nothing to you. These are what let me get that precept. I got to get that precept. I keep quoting it, but I want to bring it out. Can you get Romans 15:4 real quick, babe? I got to bring it out. I keep quoting it, but I want to bring that scripture out, man, because these scriptures are literally made for our learning, to help us.
That's Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
So these scriptures give us hope, man. These scriptures, the whole reason was the Bible made was to give us hope. We read these accounts of our forefathers and foremothers, the things that they went through, and the Lord delivered them out certain things. That gives us hope. We hear about salvation coming for us in the Bible. That gives us hope. We read about the heathen going into captivity. That gives us hope. So when we do come into these times that we never seen before, we will have hope, because we know what the Lord have done with our foremothers and forefathers, how he delivered them out of situations, unthinkable situations that the average man can't even comprehend. So we know that he can do that to us as well, because those brothers was Israelites, and we are Israelites. So if the Lord did that to them, you don't think he'll do that to us? So there's something to think about, man. These miracles, we can't just read past these miracles, read it, and then flip to the next. But you got to meditate on that, bro. We got to meditate on the miracles more that the Lord have done to our forefathers and foremothers. We have to really meditate on that, man, because that's going to be our hope. That's going to be our strength when all hell break loose. That's going to be our strength, man. So, the next one was, matter of fact, bring out the Red Sea, babe. Classic one. Bring out the Red Sea. We finna get that thing, man. Everybody know about big dog Moses, man. That's a miracle. That's a miracle of the Most High God, because no average man is not parting the Red Sea or parting any sea. You got to have that spirit of the Most High God on you. The Most High God has to be working through you for you to be able to part a sea. That's a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a miracle, man.
I think it's in Exodus 12.
You said what?
That's in Exodus 13. No. Red Sea part. It gotta be in Exodus 12, 13 to 14.
That's in
I just had it. Exodus 14.
Yeah, I know it was at 14.
Con. I just was skimming through it. I guess I looked right over it. Oh, okay. Here it is, right here. You want me to start at like verse 10 when the Egyptians are chasing us?
Yeah, con.
Okay. This is Exodus 14 and verse 10. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. And they were sore afraid, and the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptian whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift up thy rod and stretch out thine hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And you want me to skip down to verse 21? Or do you want me to just keep reading?
Where you at?
I'm at 18. Verse 21 is when it actually happened. I'm going to just keep reading.
You keep reading.
And the angel of Yahweh, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to them. But it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Do you want me to skip down to the part where then the Lord brought the sea back down and killed all of them?
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah. Cause we already read how the Lord used him to part the Red Sea, so you can go down to how the Lord killed them all through the water.
All right. This is verse 26. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remaineth not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses.
Now, that's a miracle, man. We ain't never seen no sea parted since. You know, when the Lord had a part for Israel to make it through, and then close it and drown the Egyptians. That's a miracle. That is what you. But look at the definition of the word miracle.
Gotcha.
That is a miracle, man. That's not no coincidence. No kadoki doke. Whatever.
It's like, did that cut you off?
No, you good. You good.
A surprising and welcome event that is not explicable, meaning you can't explain it by natural or scientific laws, and is therefore considered to be the work of a divine agency. Synonyms are mystery, prodigy. Yep. That's what miracle is.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of things in the Bible that's a miracle that you can't explain. You can't explain how the Lord did it. How did he? You can't explain it. You can't explain some stuff that you see that the Lord allow you to see in the sky. You might see a chariot. You might see something blue flash for your eyes. It's like, dang, what? You can't explain that, man. You can't explain certain things, bro, because these things are miracles. The Most High work. The Most High be working, man. The Most High definitely be working. So now we finna get the three brothers in the fire, Daniel 3, verses 12 through 30. I mean, my bad. Daniel 3, verse 20 through 30. We are but get the three kings, man, in the burning furnace. Now that's a miracle. You know, that's a miracle. Hey, and a lot of our brothers and sisters haven't heard of these miracles. A lot of our brothers and sisters haven't heard of these things before, man. So just to hear about the miracles that the Lord done for our people, man, that show you that the Lord truly love us, man. You know, that shows that the Lord truly love us for him to be able to, get us out of these situations. Because a lot of these situations are life and death situations. All these miracles I done read before already, or was really life and death situations if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? So we finna get into this right in the book of Daniel, man. You know how the Most High saved these three brothers out of the burning furnace. Now, a burning furnace is hot. A burning furnace, you supposed to die. If anybody throw you in they're like somebody put you in the oven, bro. You supposed to die. Like, but we're gonna see what happened. We're gonna see what happened. That the scriptures talk.
Con, you said you want me to start where?
Daniel 3 and verse 20 through 30.
Daniel 3, verse 20 to 30. Okay. This is Daniel chapter 3 and verse 20. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Hold up, man. Just a second. I want to explain to them what's going on if they haven't read this. You know, you had Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? And they basically didn't want to bow down to what I think it was Nebuchadnezzar. He basically was trying to get everybody to be under him. He had his own laws, he had his own statute, and he wanted everybody to be under him, to bow down to him and worship him. But you had Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which are Israelites. They wasn't trying to do that. They're like, man, I'm not gonna bow down to you. The only person I'm bowing down to is the Most High. I'm not gonna bow. They basically went down for that. They wasn't down with serving him. So he got mad and basically he said, we're gonna throw them into the furnace. We're gonna turn it up as high as we can. And we're gonna throw them in the furnace. Now in Nebuchadnezzar's mind, his mind is he thinking that he finna destroy them. He finna burn them to death. That's what he thinking in his mind. But he don't know what's in store. We're gonna keep reading though.
Con. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these
it's like it was that hot. Think about it, y'all. The fire and the heat from the flame was so hot. It says slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's how hot it was. It killed the men that took them up, and they wasn't even in the furnace. It was that hot that it killed the people that was around it. That's hot. That is different hot. But you got it.
Therefore, because the king's command was urgent, right there. Okay, so like it. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar and the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the Son of God.
So, I don't know if that was Yahweh Shai or it was an angel, but man, they was protected. They was literally praying to those on their knees praying. Hey, Nebuchadnezzar say, I thought it was 3 men in there. Why do I see 4 men? That fourth person was more likely an angel protecting them. And they say they have no hurt, meaning they wasn't getting burnt. They didn't feel that flame, man. They probably was in there feeling good. While them other 3 men or them other men were dead from the flame that they wasn't even in. That's a miracle, man. The Lord protected them because they had faith, because they trusted in the Lord. The Lord protected them from that fiery furnace because they didn't bow down to the system. They didn't sell out. They had faith in the Lord. They wasn't scared of death. So the Lord saved them, man. That's a miracle. But you got it.
Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire passed on them.
So it's like they was never in it. So they wasted their time basically trying to make the furnace and make it as hot as it can for these men, just to throw them in there. And it was like they was never in it. They wasn't touched. It said they had it said upon those, like upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was in the hair of his head singed. So they hit it, no hair on their head was touched, basically. Neither were their coats changed. So it's like they wasn't even, it was nothing wrong with their clothes. No one, their clothes wasn't burnt, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. And we know that smell of fire when something getting burnt. No smell at all. It's like there was a force field was around them. And it could have been. The angel could have put a force field around them in that fire to the point where they wasn't even touched. Like on Fantastic Four, I forgot her name, but she had powers to had a force field around people, so nothing can touch them. That could have been what the Most High did for them brothers, man. These are miracles, and they come back real soon. But I think that was it more on that.
You got like 2 more verses. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel. So the fourth one was delivered his aid and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
So it was an angel. It was an angel that protected them. And like I said, sometimes the Lord do these miracles to basically show his power, to show he in charge, because Nebuchadnezzar thought he was in charge. He didn't care about the Most High of Israel. He didn't care about that. Man, he thought he was in charge. So the Lord had to humble him down to show him, look, I'm in charge. Remember who the God of Israel is, and these my people. You're going to do what I say. Don't forget who Big Dog is. The Lord had to remind him. That Lord had to do that a lot of times, man. Had to remind these heathen who's in charge. That's why the Lord do a lot of things like this, man. That's one of the reasons why. So, I mean, that's 1, 2. That's 3. 1, 2. That's 4.
Yeah, that's 4.
All right, that's 4. So the last one we're gonna get is our mighty brother Paul. We're finna get the story of how Paul was freed out of prison by the Most High God. A miracle is going to happen again real soon. That's Acts chapter 16, verse 25 to 34.
Yep. Let me start.
Con.
This is Acts 16 and 25. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto Yahweh, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately all the doors were open and everyone's bands were loosed. And the keepers of the prison, awaking out of his sleep and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled. But Paul...
Slack you, babe. Go back up again. Scroll up. Start at Scroll up again. Start at 19. Like.
Okay. Verse 19. And when her masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers, and brought them to the magistrates, saying, These men, being Jews, do exceedingly trouble our city, and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans. And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely.
So like you real quick. So they in prison. Silas and Paul, they basically was going around teaching the law. And the Romans, I'm gonna say this too. When Paul was writing his letters to the Romans, to the people in Rome, which were Israelites. So you do have Israelites in Rome, as well as Edomites, other nation. But they was cast into prison because they basically wasn't down with what they were basically teaching the laws and commandments, and the Romans didn't want that in their land because they wanted to be wicked. They want their own laws and commandments like America. So they threw them in prison, right? So Paul and Silas is in prison. So let's keep reading on and see what happened.
Who having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner prison and made their feet fast on the stocks. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto Yahweh, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly,
they in that singing, man. They praying and they singing to the Most High God, right? Then let's see what happened.
And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened and everyone's bands were loosed. And the keeper of the prison, awaking out of his sleep and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled. But Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, Do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas and brought them out and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, Believe on the Lord Hamashiach Yahushua, and thou shalt be saved in thy house. And they spake unto him the word of the Lord and to all that were in his house. And he took them the same hour of the night and washed their stripes and was baptized, he and all his straightway. And when he had brought them into his house, he set meat before them and rejoiced, believing in Yahweh with all his house.
So you can start right there, basically. So, you had the brothers that were thrown into prison unjust. So they was in there and they was singing songs and they was praying. And they said the prisoners heard them. Now I know the prisoners, they probably was mad. Just imagine you trying to go to sleep and you hearing two brothers singing songs, praying out loud, crying to the Most High God. They probably was upset. And the Lord allowed an earthquake to happen. There ain't no coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. That's a miracle. The Lord allowed the earthquake to happen, and it opened up the cells for them to come out. That's what they be getting these movies from, man. That stuff happened in movies. The Lord literally allowed an earthquake to happen, and the doors opened up for them. The Lord basically opened the door for them and telling them, y'all free, go ahead and go. These are miracles that we have to remember, because these are not going to be the only time that we hear about something like this happening or we see something like this happening. This is coming again to the world. These miracles are coming back plus more. That's why you got to keep the faith and keep enduring, man. Because the Lord, it may be times where you finna die and the Lord have a miracle happen to you. I keep bringing this up. Hunger Games. I'm watching it, especially the first Hunger Games. Katniss, she was finna die, and then they sent one of them little things. I forgot what they called those little things to basically, if you have a sponsor, if you have enough sponsors, they'll be able to send like something to help you when you finna die, you hurt or something like that, or you need water. And she was finna know that she got stung by those walls. Was at the time, and something she was finna die. She needed something, and they sent one to her. I'm like, bro, that's how the Most High gonna be in Jacob's trouble. When it was time, like I said, on Hunger Games Catching Fire, how they was running from this smoke that was poison. And, they was kind of down. They kind of got weak, and it was 3 of them, and they fell down to the ground. Matter of fact, I want to show it. I'm finna show it. But matter of fact, I'm finna cut the volume off so I won't get copyrighted. But I'm finna show y'all the clip of what we talking about, miracle that the Lord can do. And when I watched it, I recorded immediately. Cause I'm like, man, but that's something the Most High do for real, man. Thinking you finna die. The whole time, hold up. The whole time you thinking you finna die, and all of a sudden, you protected out of nowhere. But if I send it to you, will you be able to show it?
Yeah, you can send it to my. Yeah, just send it to my. Just send it to me. I got it. Yeah, you can send it to me.
I'll just send it to you. I want to show this clip on the screen, man, because I kind of got excited seeing that. I'm like, bro, these movies know what they be doing. They put these things like this in movies, and these are miracles. These are stuff that the Most High really can do. You thinking you finna die, man. You thinking it's your last breath. You're like, dang, I'm out of here. All of a sudden, you get saved out of nowhere.
I'm sending it to my email because I have to pull it up on the laptop.
Cause you can take time.
Okay, I got it.
That's a miracle.
Okay.
You're gonna play this clip real quick to show y'all what we talking about. It's tripping. If it's all right, if you can't show it.
Yeah, I can't. It's saying in order for me to play it, I gotta download something and pay for it.
Let me see if I can show it on my phone then.
So it's okay.
So they're thinking they finna. I don't know if you can see it. Yes. Can you see it? You can kind of see it. Why it look like that? Let's see, bro. Well, I'm gonna put the matter of fact, I'm gonna put the link because I know the clip on YouTube. So after this live end, I'm gonna put the link from the clip on YouTube. What we trying to show y'all, but I'm putting it under the video, Lord willing, so y'all can go watch it. But that's just a miracle of the Most High. The things that He do, man. That's why you can't put the Lord in a box, because He can do a lot of things, bro. That the Lord can do a lot of things. You can't put him in no box and be like, man, I don't know if the Lord gonna be able to do that. I don't know if he can do that. You can't put the Lord in the box, man. You gotta trust in the Most High God and trust in His works, man, because He never fails. He never fails, and He never seems to amaze us, man. So that was my 5 miracles of the Most High. Lord, will I can come back with some more, man? And I hope this was very edifying. And just remember to remember these accounts when you read them, man. Meditate on them, and just remember these works, these miracles are coming back real, real soon. Stay tuned. So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We say Shalom.
What do you say?
Oh, I thought you were saying.
Oh, wow.